The Celtics started their season with a loss against the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm refusing to panic. I'm also looking ahead over to the Knicks game, which will be later today. We're going to talk about all that and more right now. I'm joined by my homie compadre, co-hosting crime, Mr. Billy Calabrese. What's popping, Billy?
What's up? What's up?
I'm living, dude. I'm living. Tough loss. I think that there's a lot of takeaways to come from that Celtics game. Most importantly, that I came into that game thinking the front court was going to be the biggest issue, and it turned out the back court was the biggest issue. Backcourt gave up 72 points between two guys in Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, and that sucked. I think that was the one area coming into the season where I felt like defense wasn't going to be a major issue, and they got smoked, man, like real badly smoked.
What concerned me was the ball movement. That was the second lowest amount of assists in a game since Joe has taken over. The ball is just sticking, and that's going to be a real big problem if that continues during the season. And I don't see why that's not a trend that's going to continue because we just don't have the playmakers.
I think that when you look at guys like Pritchard, Anthony Simons, and to a lesser extent, I think he was doing a really good job of trying to be a playmaker, but Jaylen Brown, there's always going to be a tendency to dribble the air out the ball a little bit more because that's how these guys create for themselves and create for others. The ball has to stick. Now, the problem is that's counterintuitive to the way Joe and the coaching staff and even some of the front office staff have spoke about playing at a faster pace. If you want to play at a faster pace, that doesn't just mean getting out in transition. It means making quick decisions, making quick reads, understanding what you're doing with the rock almost as soon as it gets in your hands. Once you start slowing that down, bugging things down in the half court, like running high pick and rolls and just waiting to see what's going on, that's a problem. Now, I do think that the Celtics countered that quite well by they added in lots of delayed cuts where somebody would wait until like the last second of an offensive possession and then they'd just cut hard towards the rim and get rewarded. That was a way that the Celtics really shone during Missoula's first season in charge, and I think that they've gone back to that a little bit now. Or it might have been during Ime Udoka's season, actually, if I remember correctly. But delayed cutting was a big part of one of either Ime's season or Joe's first season, and that's a good way of counteracting just having a bunch of guys that are ball dominant and don't create instant offense. They have to like manipulate a bit more. You have guys cut later. Now, that's great and all, but if you've been promising everybody this high tempo offense and now the ball's sticking a bunch, I'm not sure how that's meant to coincide with what we've been told to expect. Now, I do think the Celtics did well in transition, but they also got destroyed in transition. 17% of Philadelphia's points came on the break. That's almost 1 in 5 buckets came on the break.
Jeez. And a lot of the fast break that we were talking about, we were going to see it was going to be from creating turnovers because obviously we're not a great rebounding team. So we're not going to be able to get stops and start the break that way. But when you have a backcourt of like Maxey and VJ, like they're not going to turn the ball over very much. Those guys are monsters. So you're not going to force the turnovers you need to create fast break points that way. You're definitely not going to get it from rebounds because we basically were in a dead heat with rebounds with them. And that's actually kind of a disappointment because Embiid was really non-factor. So we should have dominated down low. Like our bigs should be better than an Embiid-less Sixer team. And they just frankly aren't.
See, I took that as a win personally. I took because the Celtics did win the rebounding battle, barely, but they won. But for me, I was like, I come into the season expecting them to really lose that rebounding battle on most games, and without Embiid or with Embiid, I still think that Maxey's a rip and run type of guy. VJ Edgecombe definitely looks like he's going to be that full court blur as well when given the green light. They've got a bit more athleticism in their forward rotation this year. I was very happy to just be like, hey, it wasn't pretty, but the Celtics found a way to win that rebounding battle. Do I think that that's sustainable throughout the year? No, I think for most of the year, they're going to struggle and they're going to get beat on the defensive glass quite a lot. But the effort was there for me. And I get what you're saying. Without Embiid, there should be no reason why the Celtics didn't absolutely crush that board battle. But let's not act like in my head, I'm like, let's not act like they didn't get smoked all the way through preseason on the glass. And it hasn't been a concern that we spoke about a bunch because it is and it has. So I'm okay with them grinding out a 3 or 4 rebound advantage against a team like Philly, knowing that tonight when they play New York, they're going to get absolutely slaughtered on the glass. I don't know how. I'm really concerned about how they deal with somebody like Towns and the way they deal with like whoever's crashing off the wings. I feel like that Mikal Bridges could be a guy that might end up with a few more offensive boards than what he usually gets. It's just a concern for me overall.
And just the backcourt, like if Maxey did that to us, what's Jalen Brunson gonna do?
And the worst thing is, dude, Maxey did it with an Embiid that was kind of spacing the floor, but not really. No one seemed to really respect Embiid's shot. How this defense, and I wrote about this yesterday in the Celtics Chronicle, how this defense deals with a 5-out offense with an elite 3-point shooting big is going to tell us a lot. Because if you start dragging Nemi, who was very good against the Sixers, I'll give him credit where credit's due. I thought he played really well. But if you start dragging him onto the perimeter, you're fucked straight away. He's going to foul out early because he just doesn't have the lateral quickness or the foot speed or the hip mobility to stay with guys when they start driving downhill. It's going to be the same with, well, it would have been the same with Luka Garza, but he's been ruled out his concussion protocol. I think that we see a lot of Xavier Tillman in this game just because he gives you that switch 1 through 5 ability. And that would help guarding up on someone like Taz.
Yeah, you probably need to play a lot of Tillman because let's be honest, we probably win that game against the Sixers if Kata doesn't foul out just because of that's how well he was playing. But the problem is he's always going to foul out just because the other side of the ball is just not his strength. He cannot help but foul, and they're bad fouls. And that's against non-talented people. Like I said, it was not a great front court for the Sixers, especially Embiid, who's just a jump shooter now, apparently. So if he fouled out against them, like what's he going to do against actually skilled bigs? Like when Cat's out there, even when somebody like Yabusele's out there, like he gets switched on to Kata, he's going to foul him. There's no way he can handle that guy.
And that's why going up against a 5-out team, especially with the amount of switching that's going to be necessary, or if you're switching 1 through 4 with Nemi and drop, which I feel like will be the most likely way to kind of try and counter whatever New York tries to do. Nemi's going to find himself having to contain ball handlers, especially if you're doing switch 1 through 4 with 5 and drop. So there's going to be times where Nemi's trying to slow down a Jalen Brunson drive. And as soon as Jalen Brunson gets shifty with it, it's going to be a concern in terms of that foul baiting. And Nemi could really find himself in fouls. I'll be shocked if he's not in foul trouble at some point during the first half.
The other big thing, and this is something that carried over from the preseason, we shoot a lot of threes, but we don't shoot them well. Is that something that it's just not going to be a good shooting team, or is that something where water will find its level? Because I don't think there's any water in the well. I don't think we are a good shooting team.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is, and I think this is really important to remember, that was game 1 of 82. Like these, I get that you've had preseason and training camp, but these dudes are still finding a rhythm. It's game 1. You won't really see the best of this group until February at the like January, late December, January, February. That's when you start really seeing guys like find their rhythm from the field and stuff. So I'm not too concerned. I think that they were generating good looks. Most of them were open. I think that they generated shots that you would want them to take. They're not as good of a shooting team as they were in previous years. I think that's a fact. I don't expect Derek White and Peyton Pritchard to combine for, what were they, like 7 or 30 or something from deep.
It was ugly.
It was something like that. That's just off the top of my head. I did have the number somewhere. I don't expect that to happen again. I think that not consistently again anyway. I think those guys, one of them might have bad shooting nights, but for both of them to struggle at the same time, like that's not going to be a common occurrence, in my opinion. I think they're both too good of a 3-point shooter. Now, the problem is you've got White, Pritchard, Hauser, Brown, and Simons that can shoot the 3 and nobody else. So it's finding a way to ensure that you continue to get these open looks. What I think water finds its level, but I don't think that, like you said, I don't think that level is, like when a kid's growing up and you're like marking the door to see how they've grown, right? That mark from last year, the water's like considerably lower than where that was last year.
And that's what concerns me the most. And the one thing I will say, like, I don't take a lot into single game plus minus, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Sam Hauser was our single game plus minus leader in that game because he spaces the floor. And even if he's not necessarily even shooting well, he's a threat and they have to guard him like a threat. And it did make it easier for everyone else. So having him on the floor is going to just be a key to the season. So hopefully he can stay healthy.
It's
I don't
wild
know
though,
if I
right?
like him at the 4, but it is what it is.
It's wild though, right? Because he was the guy that so many people were on board with trading during the summer, and it's like he's one of the best floor spacers in the league. Like, I don't understand why you like. Don't get me wrong. If a opportunity comes up and you flip Sam for somebody that's going to be a long term building block, then fine, I get that. But just throwing him in as salary filler on like a salary dump, that never made sense to me.
No, it's just stupidity. Like I said, and we're misusing him. Like I said, I don't think he should be playing the 4, but we don't really have another choice.
And the good thing is, the last 2 years he's been working on attacking closeouts off the bounce, and at the 4, when he's trying to shoot over additional length, that opportunity to kind of get a big like a forward to commit and then attack that hip off the dribble, that's going to be there for him all year. And if he can show some consistency with like a 1-2 dribble, long like mid range pull up, or attack the drive after attack the closeout after dribble, drive and kick, I think his value is going to be so much more diverse than just a catch and shoot threat. We already know he can defend. We know that he can shoot the free, but he's been building up to a position where he can attack guys off the bounce for the last year or two. And I feel like now this is going to be a year where he can really showcase that growth. And I think it's going to be really important to his ability to be a key piece of the rotation.
And it's drawing fouls. That's like something that you never would expect from him. But he did it in the preseason. He did it again in that Sixers game. I think that's a trend that's only going to continue, which is great because he does not miss free throws.
Because it gets back to that overreaction, right? Like guys are like, oh, he's just beat me or he's going up, I need to attack. And that high five rule, the way everyone was talking about how it's going to benefit Steph, it's also going to benefit guys like Sam because people will close out hard on him and they will try and do fly by clock contests. And now and again, you are just going to clap that hand, even if it's accidentally, and he's going straight to the line. So I agree. I think that Sam's got a decent season ahead. I think that he's more important to the rotation than probably what we gave him credit for, what most people gave him credit for. I don't think he's like essential, but I think no, that's a lot. I think he's essential, but not key. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
I like that distinction.
But that, yeah, I mean, for me, Sam's done really well. He's going to be important against a team like the Knicks. I think the Knicks are going to be a really big test for this team. Not so much because they lost it in the Eastern Conference semifinals last season, just because they're a team built in Boston's image. Like they were constructed to play like Boston, but be a bit different to Boston. And now the Celtics aren't even that version of themselves. And I just don't know how you try and defend what the Knicks can do. I just don't. Not with what you've got in the floor. Especially when like Josh Minott didn't seem to be getting much burn as what I thought he would get. Hugo didn't play. Like both of those guys bring energy and hustle that you will probably need against New York. You're going to need to really get that game right into the weeds. Play like Miami, right? Where Miami come up against teams that are way more talented than them sometimes, but they find a way to muddy the game up so much that all of a sudden you're in the trenches, just throwing bomb for bomb, like punch for punch, and it becomes a battle of attrition rather than a battle of skill. I feel like this is going to have to be a very similar type of game to that.
I'm really worried about this game because even with like Mitchell Robinson out, and I assume Josh Hart's still going to be
I
out.
think Josh Hart's out too, yeah.
So it's going to be like a faster, definitely. I mean, Mike Brown's already shown like he's not afraid to use his bench. He's going like 10, 11 deep with these guys. They're always fresh. They're running like they're kind of playing like the way we were supposed to play. I thought they obliterated Cleveland's defense, and Cleveland's going to have some real issues on that end. I don't know if you saw a lot of that game, but yeah, Cleveland made a run and came back because like Mitchell had like one of those nuclear third quarters and then fizzled out at the end. And man, Cleveland has a lot of issues to kind of fix, but New York playing faster and like actually with an offense is scary because they have some great offensive players.
Yeah, they're not going to be an easy out. But again, I think that's where it's going to have to be. The Celtics take a leaf out of the Miami Heat booklet and they're like, right, we're going to muddy this shit up as much as we can. And we're going to make you have to battle for every point. And you've seen how much success Eric Spoelstra can have when he gets his Heat team playing like that. And sometimes it can get you a win over a team that you shouldn't be even in the conversation with. And I think the Celtics have the right type of personnel to kind of play that style of game and win that style of game and get that like overachieving win just because of the length and physicality they can bring to the rotation. Now, I don't know whether Missoula's going to lean to go that way, but it's definitely an option because if you just try and play high tempo, pace and space basketball, you're going to get absolutely smoked by this New York team. They're going to outrun you. They're going to outscore you. They're going to out rebound you. And there's not much you can do about it unless you're having unless Jaylen Brown's having one of his I'm Jaylen Brown games.
Yeah, I just feel like we're just gonna get bullied physically. Like, I just know that we're gonna have lineups that have Pritchard and Simons in at the same time, maybe even with White as well. And it's just gonna be too small and too bad defensively. Like, Derek White is such a great defender. He cannot make up for those other two on the court, especially if those two are in the backcourt.
It's not just that though, is it? It's like you're probably going to have a lot of Tillman as well, so you're losing size in the middle, and then you're probably going to go. At times, you're going to go Sam, so you're going to go almost pure offense just to try and keep the score level. You know what I mean? Like at some point, you might have to go down the Kevin Durant route of hey, defense don't matter. Let's just score, and hope that we can win the math game that way. Did you hear Durant's comments about how offense wins more than defense?
Yeah, wins championships, not defense.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that. I'm sorry. No, I'm not saying that Durant's lying. I'm sure that's his take. But for me personally, I've always been defense wins chips.
Yeah, and obviously, anytime that a team wins the championship, they are not more than competent. They're usually great or elite at defense. Even those Warrior teams with Durant and Steph were elite defensively. So he's really selling the defense side of the ball short.
I think maybe it's just because he's like, dude, I don't want to defend. So if I just say that defense doesn't matter,
Yeah.
I'm like, at least people don't expect me to defend no more. Okay, cool. You're old now. Take some possessions off, man. You've earned it. But everybody else, you should be hustling.
It's wild for somebody to say that on a Udoka coach team, though. I hope his coach didn't hear those comments because he ain't playing that shit.
Like that for shit. Not at all, bro. But yeah, I think that overall, and I feel like this episode can be kept quite short anyway. But I think overall, the takeaway from the Sixers game was the Celtics need to learn to close. I think that they did a really good job in the third, getting a bit of an advantage, building some momentum. But it's a young roster. They didn't really know how to execute down the stretch when it was a tight game. So I think that was my biggest takeaway from the Sixers game. And then heading into the Knicks game, my expectation is that I want them to kind of be Miami-esque and just get real down in the weeds.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat, except I like the style of play this team has. And if they're just going to fall apart in the last 5 minutes and lose in crunch time all the time, that's the perfect tanking season for me because I can be entertained for, 3.5 quarters in the last 5 minutes. It's, a toilet bowl. I'm actually going to be okay with that because, like I said, look at what it did for the Sixers to get a lottery talent to add to what they already had. I want that. I'm jealous of freaking what they got with Edgecombe, and I want our own version of that.
You're still on board that it's it's a tanking year.
Well, I mean, when we start 0-4, 0-5, what it's looking like after these next couple games, I think everybody's going to kind of feel that that's what the reality is.
That's a question. I know we spoke about this off air, right? So I'm going to run through. We'll end with this as well. We'll end with a little game.
Oh, the schedule's not easy, my friend.
I'm going to run through the schedule now. And then we're going to basically see where we think the Celtics will be after 10 games. Okay? So
that's
they're
a fun exercise. Yep.
They're 0-1 right now. So they've got the Knicks today. Are you taking that as a loss?
I am.
Okay, so that'll be 0-2. They've got the Pistons on Sunday. Are you taking that as a loss?
I am.
So that's 0-3. They've got the Pelicans on Monday.
I was going to say that's a win, but it's a back-to-back. And I don't know how this front court's going to hold up on a back-to-back going up against Duran and then Zion the next night. I'd see that as a loss.
Okay, so that's 0-4. The Cavs on the Wednesday. That's 0-5.
That's our 5.
The Sixers on the Friday. That's 0-6.
Yeah, I would love to say
that's an NBA Cup game as well, right?
Oh, is the yeah.
So they're going to play hard because they're going to want the extra money. So you can say, if you want to call that a win, we'll go 1-5, right?
Well, no, it'll be an Embiid revenge game. Maybe he'll have his feet under him. He's not going to play worse than he did against us the other night. So you're right.
So 0-6. Then you've got the Celtics versus the Rockets on the November 1st, right?
No shot.
0-7.
Absolutely no shot.
0-7. Then you've got Celtics versus Utah. I think that's where the first win comes.
That sounds like a win, but I mean, as the Clippers found out, didn't they lose by like 20 something points to
They
them?
got
But
smoked,
yes,
man. Are you going for a win or a loss against the
I'm going to
Jazz?
go for a win on the Jazz. If we
Okay,
lose to
so
the
that's
Jazz, I
1
might
and
have to stop
7.
watching.
That's 1 and 7. Then the Wizards.
We got a winning streak, my friend. We're streaking.
So 2 and 7. And then the Magic.
That's a loss. Come on. Did you see
So,
how great Bane fits with Franz and
oh, dude,
Banchero?
he's elevated everything, dude. So that's 2 and 8. So over their first 10 games, a viable. And just to put this out there, then it goes Magic, Sixers, Grizzlies, Clips.
Oh.
So you could end up being 2 and 13 heading into game 15 against Brooklyn. So do you get what I'm saying? You could end up 3 and 13, or 3 and 12, or whatever it is in your first 15, 16 games. There's a chance that the Celtics head into December with under 6 wins. Like, that's a legitimate chance. Now, there's a chance that they are a .500 team. There's a chance that they have a winning record. But looking at the schedule, looking at the team that there is, and what their strengths are and what their current flaws are, and how tough that start of the year is, there is a legitimate chance that the Celtics could be 2 and 13 or 3 and 12 by the time they're midway through November.
And that's just like with everybody that, there was a very loud and vocal group that was like, oh no, this team's going to overachieve. They're going to win like 45 games. I really think this reality, especially after this weekend, is going to set in and be like, oh wait, maybe not.
Do you reckon 30 win season?
Yeah, I had like 37, 38, but I could obviously see a scenario where Jalen gets banged up, misses some games. Why, he's no spring chicken. He could get banged up, miss some games. Then you're in the early 30s instead of late 30s.
Reckon it could be under 30?
It would take a disaster. It would have to be like a Jalen season-ending injury. But am I off base here? Like I said, I feel like I'm being a little too negative. Out of those 10 games,
I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm just going to ride it out, however, right? I'm happy basketball's back. I'm always okay with a developing team because I think that it's really fun to watch guys add to their game throughout the year. So I'm kind of just going to take it as it comes. I'm going to be bluntly honest all the way through the year. If I think a guy's doing well, I'll say so. If I think he's not doing well, I'll say so. There's no agenda here. I know a lot of people have been accusing me of having an agenda against Cater lately. He's probably a guy I've spoke about more than most. But he's also a guy that, in my opinion, is one of the biggest swing factors on the Celtics season. He's the one replacing Al Horford, Porzingis, and Cornet. And he's the guy that, if he plays really well, can elevate this team into a 40-win team. If he plays really bad, this team's going to be in the low 30s. So, yes, I have spoke about him more, but that's not because I've got an agenda about him. It's just because I think his role within this offense is so key, and defense. But yeah, I'm not going to say you're being too negative, too positive. I think I'm just taking it one game at a time. But if this team went 2 and 12, 2 and 13, or 3 and 12 over the first 15 games, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and then that start just diffuses any talk at all, no matter how much he wants to play, of Tatum coming back this season.
Or it just makes it unnecessary.
Yeah, there's just no way. They won't. Yeah, they're not going to mess up the tank to let Tatum get them to 35 wins instead of 30.
Yeah, and lower your odds.
Yeah,
I mean, they might let him come back on like one of the last games of the season. Like, they might put a full strength roster out there for like the first half of a game in TD, just so he can get his legs under him and so he can enjoy that like I'm back moment. But if that happens, I'd expect it to. And the Celtics have a losing record. This is obviously. If the Celtics are winning or they're near .500, it's a completely different scenario. But under the hypothetical that the Celtics have a losing record, they're looking at a lottery pick. I could see them giving Tatum like an insignificant game to return on, but I also feel like that's unfair to him. And I'd much rather than you just start the new season with him.
And guys, this makes the Celtics a much more interesting team. It is not interesting to be a 41-41 team. Ask the Chicago Bulls. Like, that is
or the Wizards.
Or the Wizards. Like, being bad makes us sellers at the deadline and starting getting stuff, accumulating stuff for next year. that's a way more interesting scenario than trying to squeak in and fight, blood, sweat, and tears just to get like the 7th or 8th spot. The Sixers showed last year that that is not worth it. Look at what they got for just being bad for a couple months out of the year when, other teams stepped on the gas and they just took their foot off the pedal. So
And
I
now they got
really
VJ.
recommend, dude, that kid is such a freaking stud. That's so annoying. So
It's
why'd it
annoying
have to be a
because like
six, though, man?
now their guards, like their starting guard tandem is set for like the next 10 years. It's
And they're
like
Celtic
Embiid.
killers. Both of them kill us.
What the thing is as well, like it's far too early to say Embiid's washed. I saw a lot of that the last day or so. I'm like, dude, it's one game into the season. I get that he's struggled for a few years, but he's had like what 5 million meniscus surgeries over the last 18 months. He's not going to be at his best yet. But if he is truly washed, I feel like that's a big if after one game, but if he's never going to be an all-star big man again or whatever, it's a lot easier for the Sixers to pivot now because they have 2 young studs plus Jared McCain as like their building block. You only need to get lucky on a forward or a big, and now a new spine of the team is there. So I think that it's crazy how lucky they got landing at third, and it's crazy how good Edgecombe looked in game 1. And it has really eased the pressure of like, hey, if the Embiid era is over, well, we feel okay about that in a certain way.
And just taking him over Ace Bailey, who did not have a great debut, like it really looks like they just really lucked out because they got a lot of crap for taking him over Ace.
Yeah, and I'd like, look, again, it's one game. Ace Bailey
Yeah,
will
for sure.
probably figure shit out. I just think that sometimes it's about picking the player that fits best with the players that you envision him becoming part of a core with. And a Maxi Edgecombe duo just feels like it's going to work. It's like, it looks like it's going to work. Neither of them are going to have to give up much of who they are as a player for the other one to thrive.
No, that's so complimentary. And like I said, I'll be shopping at VJ Max for the next decade because those two are freaking awesome together.
I mean, none of it's going to matter anyway. Wemby's here. Wemby arrived. Everything else is done. Like it. Everyone's playing for runner-up at this point, right? Like that's how it feels.
You see what happens when you give him Luke Cornett? He just turns into, he takes that next step.
Yeah, it turns into 7-foot Michael French Jordan. That's what it turns into. Sacre bleu. Right then, with that, we're going to leave y'all. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button over on the YouTube channel. Also, go show some love to me over on Celtics Chronicle newsletter. Trying to get to 100 paid subscribers this year. Again, there's a free version as well. If you just want to be there and be on the free plan, you're more than welcome. I'm happy for it. I'm humbling every time I get a subscriber email, to be honest with you. And Billy's over at Letterbox at the Real Cbo. Is that right?
Yep. CBO041. It's spooky season, guys. All the horror movies. It's awesome time of year.
And with that, y'all, we're going to leave you and bid you farewell. Deuces.